Sky Power Radio and TV Services Studios, West Yorkshire, late Stencil Mount. Welcome all on board a weekly civic education program today, Saturday, 25th of the 10th, which is October at 17:14 UK time. My name is Mustafa Jame at the seat. Assalamu alaikum, badingulu ngal kontong mobe dauda anibe watu watito. From Sky Power Radio and TV Services kal kontong kal bismillah na programo min kasudojang lokun ninyan tembensi the civic education program. Badi malo Mustafa Jame membe sirim programo kun ninyan temben. Okay, they will continue in the feature Sky Power Radio and TV Services via Studios, West Yorkshire, late Stencil Mount. The program Civic Education Program under Accent Harit Mustafa Jamanekan and feature Rajabi. Yo, coming Delta Kakinyaman local Ninian Tembensi Danka Alfal Sambanan Purina Kachanya Kula Mimbet Dending Sula Kula Gambia Bangkokang. B Alpha Ba Mialongo Nasrambe Intambeng Studio Kono. Walang Dr. Lamin Quantity, Dr. Ngamira, Modul Mo Jamal Bijang, Wulyanta Lonale Alamama the Kula Nina the finance ning accounting na Purkamol Kalamtan ni Kamol Fahamdi Walakamol Karandala. I londi basro fanala, but in the fourth Kalam, Dr. Tentula Famfanke, Bajaila, because Kawato ta Purkana Jang, Momo Narajang, Ikela Hajola Pula Purkana, Ka Mol Karandi, Walakamol Kunendi Kula Fanala, Mia Lonko, Ite Londos Ro Fanal. Welcome ala being a sula kusuro ko fana mina walang audit report nyinti. Doctor ifaham roki nyim fanala kendeke anim famfanke. The following kalamba tentulamba jela se abula aning lamoirlal ning giberlal nyo kontong and new barajen sinadung kachakungora. Yo doctor inim bare mo kende welcome for the first time. Bismillah.
Baraka. Thank you very much. Miss Jobate Ndey. Nying mo kure de komi alon ko Gambia no pe kiskis la kada no mo konte jolan ka ba hanende mo konte bolalt so auditing nyim mo konte bolte non to mando baro no mo ko alafta pro ke konte bol to mando baro mo dor ka ba he pe malan so na bo nyama bang kola na fulo waranda hani company Londi Yeo Palaso de Molda Purco Dobo Sivake Ila Napolo and ye pulming below Purco Kota Mande Yanda Kalawala Nyama. Sanji turning killing command to bringing Luanyam Pass, it called the Public Finance Act and Financial Regulations Brio Londi Gambia. In 2016, they nga ko query ko they ma understand how Auditor General la Palazzo ni yemi pintende ala independence bekala no nyaadile katu ituriye bire nyim ko londe iko the internal audit, the office of the national audit. I needed from the Ministry of Finance. Ndoko so no bo nyama. Internal audit on ibe finance department or ministry bol audit la no nyaade le katu contribute do ko nye sinya flora bi wala nyendo ko be auditing sort of konoto on the wala do ko wala nyende ka ko be ya ma role di lela anem finance ko ila controls mi ya lon ke be tamande kan ibe tende bari inyanta modolo finance to be cover external auditors many ya lon ko wolle binanna ye kiskis doke ya ko is a unqualified opinion or dealer wala nyinde ko fe ba tama kan ila dulato to be senatare ni wo imawo sort no is not qualified opinion or dealer wala nyinde ko is afa ko fenja mal bete atale ba fen kilim bije o fen fula o fen dantan wal man bete ni wo man sort is advanced opinion or dealer afa ko tumando bato biri ibe kiskis do kela ye pendo le nyinen ka e mansom pour ka dila no sain tenga mera wole be Gambia la audit acquire nyento wala nyento ko mo dolde be diamo kay ko man sakunda kodol tinyanta modol ba fala ko e mansom pour ka nyen ko le pindende bari nte ngamen question wala nyente ko external auditor meni alon ko wala nyento diamo kala ma wala report o rike ntonga internal auditor da mal report ye so nabo wonyama wonyande kala kutu ko mi yalan ko nyanta kiskis la nga kan jende bari sign name Mr. former auditor general Sise kadinta na dia mdono way back to ya appoint ndeng advisement di la wala nyinde ko the national audit or the directorate of internal audit ndanga min fo wala nyinde ko e nyanta ake apaye independent area me along ko they should set up audit committee or audit committee wala be o sembo sotola na internal audit chief internal auditor nyen ka appoint on the auditor general of the country num fanan ni lafta external auditors na proka bankola ko kiskis wala fanan nyanta wala fanan haya bari o man tamande so sa bimbe nyen ko men do ten sai ni ko Gambia na fulo kasarata
doctor mbalal dorong janni bita dip ka kol bondi nyamo kono molla because nga molso do mebe la moro kala mel yalon ko foye nyim faham ko because yakule fo jang me yalon ko ndefango hani defango aman sene abake wala muko internal audit ntol nga wo report ole soto sign so external audit or fana nyanta nalale fo anyanta kala wala nya fa bi jele wol fana nyanta nalale janning nyin report o bebe kala like
yeah internal auditor report wala kana follow but no one follow wo katara konotole
yeah
so external auditor wala fonda ila advice ila report wala fon kumaya da fon be bandor ma wasor
so ntol nga men soto sign wala internal audit wala soto sign so fonka external audit kele wato wata ka ketenne bang fo faka ketenne all the time every time auditor nanata external fanan kanale because ntene ne mamo external auditors ka wato watinka audit report oleje
yalo internal auditor ila responsibility wala is inside
yes
so it told they cannot attest
yeah
they cannot give opinion
yeah
it all ba follow ko nara nyin ko nyin kiskis nyimbe ten that's their responsibility but external auditors ni wol narana they have to do they first of all ngana badanga nyin ko sen and kende
Yes, because of important of one
Okay. So internal auditors the responsibility is to provide advisory and assurance services. That's it. They do not provide any opinion whatsoever at all.
But the doctor ngamoy opinion last time of Barofan Kafoko is just an opinion. Last time ngamoy opinion bijela, and even in this we saw some opinions as well. How?
Well, Yaloniko opinion, the opinion from the external auditor, because as far as I'm concerned, Nimu, if you are an internal auditor, you do not provide any opinion whatsoever. You provide assurance and consultant services. That's it.
Okay.
So I commend ite kanala you report about the conditions, but then to add more credibility to the report, an external audit has been done.
But ite internal auditor, ite ka kumo memfo, wale mu membe caring, ite menje membe caring, ite ka wale.
Yes.
So external ka qualify.
Qualify. Well, when they set up this national audit and they set up the directorate, they should have appointed or set up an audit committee independent of the government whatsoever. Because if you look at it now, it looks like the internal audit or the directorate of the internal audit in the Gambia reports to the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
So how can they be independent? Because you see, the internal audit activity itself should be independent, but each internal auditor has to be objective. They have to have integrity. They have to have confidentiality, and any job that they are doing, they have to do it with due diligence. So now they contact for Ali Auditor General appoint, but this Auditor General has to report to the Minister of Finance. I'm confused about that. What I was querying was that they should have set up an independent audit committee that does not even report to any of the ministries. The question I'm asking is, if the Governor General of the Central Bank is under the Ministry of Finance, and the internal audit also reports to the Ministry of Finance, how can the Auditor General do their work when they are reporting to a ministry that they should also audit? So if we can set up a human rights commission, then I don't understand why the government could not set up audit committee independent of any of these ministries.
Doctor, because generally constitutional, audit officer independently constitutional. So say take a member for wole muko auditing the internal auditor, I can report to the Minister of Finance. What is like undermining the entire purpose of public auditing? Nintenga an access nga jube nintela understanding thing. So how come constitutional assemble the audit officer are independently at the same time a report come to the Minister of Finance?
Well, according to my investigation on the source, it says that the internal audit of the Gambia or the national audit or the directorate of the internal audit reports to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs.
Because the Ministry of Finance is also a audit. So how can they be audited and supervising the audit?
Thank you.
So because you confusion which means ko man sakundala system ya set up nyame is in contradiction to the constitution. May somebody auditor.
That is true.
The auditor is supposed to report to the National Assembly because constitutional I can report to the National Assembly. And the Minister of Finance is not among Kela Bosti. The Auditor General is independent, protected by the law. Lua leate sangsang. Gambia la constitution leate sangsang. Society can member wole muko. I can report to Minister of Finance. Kuja mabe nyimbanko kono mamem long there.
according to the, let me repeat again. According to the overview, it says that the internal audit in the Gambia operates under the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs through the Directorate of the Internal Audit. So then if that's the case, and they say the objective is to enhance accountability, transparency, and integrity in the management of public resources. But also, I want you all to know that Mr. Cisse may have a case against the government for the simple fact that the Gambia is part of the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions. That was set up way back in Cuba in 1953. So basically, what I just don't understand is the conflict, because if the internal auditor or the auditor general of the country in companies, they are regarded as chief audit executives. So now, if we do not have an independent audit committee that can hire and fire internal auditors, that can hire and fire external auditors, why would the president fire Mr. Cisse?
Doctor, that is a good question. But what I've also, National Audit Office Act 2015. Yeah, separately. They separated it from the Minister of Finance. The National Audit Office is an independent institution of the state. That is in the National Audit Office Act 2015, unless there is something newer.
Well, the accountants say independent in appearance and in form. You can say that somebody is independent when actually they are not.
But then in the National Audit Office Act, it's explicit that it's not under. It's an independent institution of the state.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, with the overview of the setup of the internal audit of the Gambia, the Directorate of the Internal Audit actually reports to the Ministry of Finance.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
So, and then if that is the case, then why would the president fire Mr. Cisse if Mr. Cisse was actually reporting to the Ministry of Finance? And Matthew also, if I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong, but I think the Governor General or the Governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, I believe, reports to the Ministry of Finance. Is that not the case?
Yeah. Well, that one I'm not sure, but yeah,
and also, the GRA is also under the Ministry of Finance.
But Doctor, don't you think that this was the old rules? Because the old laws, they were like they're under the audit department is under the Ministry of Finance. Is the government confusing the old laws, using it to fire the Auditor General? Because the new act is explicit.
Well, the new act, I want you to show me that in the Constitution, but as far as I'm concerned, what I have read in the overview of the responsibilities of the Directorate of the Internal Audit, it actually operates under the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs.
Yeah, because what I've read, I'll get the Audit Act for you. What I've read in the Audit Act is that it's separated, it's independent, it's an independent institution. But the old one, yes, it was under the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, budget also, I don't know whether it's still there, that has changed because I haven't checked that. Because the budget may still pass through the Ministry of Finance. So now I'm trying to really understand, because I couldn't understand why Munatina, President Oba Fayala, because I'm all right to talk. Could it be called the old Audit Act? They are working on that because could it be this new act is not passed yet through Parliament? Ufana is bringing lots of questions on my head as well, because there are lots of changes that happen. Amanta through Parliament or Parliament ma approve. Well, basically, no lefana. Are they acting with the old one?
And that's when somebody should investigate, because you may even be true, but let's go back here, regardless of where or who this person reports to. as long as the Constitution says that, if I'm not clear about that, but you have to correct me if I'm wrong. The Auditor General, what is their appointment span? And one area that I'm very concerned is that how can you call this man incompetent, corrupt, and then you try to promote him to be a minister?
I agree with that. But the 1997 Constitution, Doctor, it's very explicit. The Auditor General is independent. And Section 160 to 163 is very explicit that it's not subject to any direction or control of any person or authority. So it reports to the National Assembly. So
yeah, but the question I'm asking here is that when you talk about this independence, I would like to know who then appoints the Auditor General if they are independent of any of the agencies in the country.
Yeah, that I'll have to go back to the Constitution to look at that part.
And that was what I was very concerned about when they set up this in 2014. I queried that in setting up the Internal Audit Directorate, they should also have set up an audit committee that will be responsible for hiring both the external and internal auditors.
Okay, Doctor. I just black quickly because I have clipped all these things with the auditor on a folder. Now you're saying that the Auditor General, according to Section 1601 of the Gambia's 1997 Constitution, the Auditor General shall be appointed by the President, acting in accordance with the recommendation of the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
That's what's in the Constitution.
And then if that is the Constitution, but the thing that I'm saying here is that the 1997 Constitution pertaining to the appointment of the Auditor General, have they made any amendment to the effect?
There is amendment to the National Audit Act. That's why I'm saying that the 2015 looks different from the old one. But I don't know if it's passed to Parliament. Malon for Parliament, yeah, passed. Wole munna confusion. Now that you are talking about this, wole injakale. Did Parliament pass it, or is just a document lying there, not been approved by Parliament? Because the new one is different. He's completely independent, not under the ministry. But the old one.
Are you talking about the Financial Regulations Act of 2016? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the National Audit Act 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still with the Audit Act 2015. That's what I'm talking about. But of course, the old one probably is.
Yeah, but right now, still, you see, one thing about the accounting auditing profession, if there is suspicion of corruption,
yes,
or manipulation of data, once it is known, we have to go after it. So since the internal auditor said that, or the audit report said that that happened in the country, whether it is within the Constitution or not, if fraud is involved, we have no choice but to pursue it.
Yes, that I agree.
But what worries me about the Gambia, and I even said that when Halifa was in Parliament, I said, but why is it that you all are looking at reports that are about 3 years old?
I did ask that question, Doctor. In fact, that's one of the questions I think I'll ask you. Why is it that already, not even reports are like 5 years old? We always have it, but for the first time, I've seen reports even 2021, 2022, 2023, for the first time that close to the year. All along, a report told me, what is Dr. William, 5 years old. And one time I even wrote this on Facebook. And I said, it's simple. If they couldn't catch up, they should just start the fresh one and then employ more people to do the backlog. Simple like that. So, Dr. Ngalo, if I number the same question, like ask them, or you find the answer to it, because ma understand no how, because Jan Norway, and I'm sure it's in America. Report all every year you have the report.
90 days. In America, it takes only 90 days.
We see more near report and people see what happened here. That allow also the next budget as well. So, but ma understand Gambia, why akake 5 years or 3 years even or investing honey, because the latest we have now is 2023. Well, be banta sign, and we are in 2024, 2025. In fact, they tried because before it used to be 5 years gap. So it looks like this auditor, I try to put a gabo close. So Marlon, before you get that answer, why in Gambia is like that, or it's just
in Gambia it's like it's like that in
and they don't want anybody to catch them. So Jani Bebola Mansakundato, Atara audit report or nada. Is it something they do deliberate?
It could be deliberate, or also it can also be because of incompetence. But like I said now, I think our focus should be whether who they report to. To me, in my view, is irrelevant. If fraud is suspect, I think we should address it greatly. Because the reason why I'm saying that is that those numbers were the ones given. The magnitude of them, do we know? And what was the impact of these missing billions on the services that the agencies would have provided to Gambians? Okay, so those are issues that we need to talk about in our country. But I know for sure that once this revelation came to light, I think regardless of who they report to me, in my professional judgment, is irrelevant, because if corruption has been identified,
Dr. or any local languages, because local language
so natara ko billion on le be kiskis lola e ko mo la podi mala kasarata. So ntenga jibe ko kafoko for internal audit report auditor general for their report to the Ministry of Finance, or they report to the president. Tenga min jibe ko o mo kumaya ka kotanke kanin kubije ko billion on the mister Gambia no banko la kodo kasarata. Ndenga bara kamdo ko niwe moto ko den tinyaro ke de ka moto stop le ya fix follow fonte. So na bo nyama nyanto katala la pour ko ka kiskis ka tintende. But then nembe sirinja mbe diamo kan this took how many months of speculation, and people are talking about it. But what I don't understand here is that it seems like laws are in the Gambia. People can do anything they want, and they get by.
Because Fembuka ke. Nin left that tala back a little bit to the audit account itself. It is audit report, or if I'm assuming you did that, and munemu like red flag munemu ye munejije dal nin report old.
Ntela miro yinte wala nyente ko ne monala ko ala fe kiskis lay ko hanata kela den suñar bala bije.
And that is directly audit report or fintita audit report or konole.
Yeah, because very ko dafa central bank iko hani. Very ko dafa GRA iko hani.
But doctor, for mo sa for no hani auditor sola. For mo e right to for mo e wol luxury to le pour ka for auditor ko hani. Iti najam mo la national auditor.
National auditor, but national auditor kono ama o sembo soto me along as a police or someone or military someone so by force and no.
Okay, so niko hani dorong itol te fenke nola.
Ite fenke do kad wala to mando bar wala fon la sembo fon warta auditor general sembo.
Okay.
So ndolo ku kono ko nyamba ko kanjan sai nyanda min kala wala nyenti kasi chocho manyena kala ko tanke ndela advice wala nyendo go the president please allow the auditor to provide the report, because I'm totally independent, because ndela je ko banko samba nyato amanjara ka ko e nyim party support e temanyin party support ndanga Gambia banko yin sanji taworo ning jalu at least taworo since independence, but I come to control katara din ko kono kafinti ya ko leata babaka anu yajibe yesire yemira muni motaro loktanol to, because all these missing billions could have gone to our education, could have gone to agriculture. It's all from somebody mola loktan cold. So no code effective theory will be disappear kan. Nte ko akanta jahal baba kel. Ando ni FM4 is a commando 4. Bari ndolmi yalon ko bijan at least dab alhamdulillah. Bara mol mi yalon ko be gambe be siri je dobro mi fam dobro ne masoto. Ni ra muso sa da warande dingo sa sata. Ya sama loptano hana ke la dula mente masoto. Musol mi yalon ko be ni be tingoto. Ye sama loptano musu fulay tar la ran kelinka. Kanda ngo be jale. So boro mi be boro nyanta soto la gambe bago ko no masoto. Sometimes they have a name be present from blame la. More me from do ko la wala from katinya roke. So Gambia akamdo Gambia kayupo akamdo is animal house. Momo la fefente ni dunda ye fa nafa.
Exactly.
So sa told dum be mine kale intela miro mi do wala nyinde ko. Intela advice to the president, I will say wala nyinde ko. Niko ilafte ye kiskis. Ibule kiskis roke. Niko nyinne kasarata. Yafa okay. Ning mole ku kurunke mine sunyaroke ni be sama maltu etaje. Bane mo ku kurunke si kanin sonda nende se nga mira Dr. Banjala minkatala. Akamenda ko Gambia selective justice le bige. So model mini alon ko sembo so de ku kurunke more penkelela. Bar model mini alon ko man sembe so do ye ku kurunke iye muta. So dola banko bira no nyaade.
Well, look at that, Doctor. Ite mu professor of accounting and finances. Ite yung audit report. Isa just summarize molya bang na molya on the katu. Nyoso soro be siara kanne. Lord ba fala ko to nyante nyim figo sol man right nyim figo fo auditor si wosi fa keno la ay figo sol tadra be jakas ay adundi report ko na din tolla o ay si dorong ay publish because say ngajele ko masakunda ba ko spin kanne dal ka fo ko to nyante nyim figo sol man right nyim figo sol mu false leti fo auditor sol si wosi fa do ko keno le bang ye ko
Nte yalong modu sise afembe safen latala bil latala soma. Akamendo ko min kere from molmi kasaro ke wala be amukan.
Okay.
Kato boy sapo ko auditor report di kafo ko that's an opinion.
And then is false. Nga ofana mwele ministers dol ba fala ko is false. Ito lata ila part.
Yeah, because wala be na fa noka. Kansa absence sapo ko lo multi million ko be karante nte tolo fala karama jara ngo mari tolo fo.
Exactly.
Barante ngam fo mari fa wala nyinde ko neko is a opinion. Baranga opinion min fo wala nyinde ko. It's an opinion sanctioned by what? The International Audit Act. Wala nyinde ko. Isa follow zemin gibe wala nyinde ko. Gambia bulala kafolo kono internal audit kafolo kono wala kafa ko INTOSAI. New organization was formed in Cuba in 1953. Wali loi lande ko ni be auditing kala nyanta kala kan. Ndum fanang the International Audit Act fanang standards. Iko ni be do ko kala yenda kala yenda nyim kusi pala kala number 1 ko ibe yenda kala multi million ko ni fenje safo do ni be do ko kala be do ko kala do ko kendolo. Ndum fana nun kullo dol fana bi yemi yalon ko imanya na wanyarla bari ni ye ku kuru yemi yalon ko anyanda fintin de nyanda fintin dal ba jani ba fintin na moliye inyanda tala mansa kundara lawyer inyanda ko kul sambala woli ya follow bari mi ende sobinde ko wala nyende ko ndola central bank billion be daming minika namol collect wala man song internal auditor nana pour que qu'est-ce so ni man son pour ne que qu'est-ce den be ku kurngol lako so mon men kalo ka fo ko fe minister de bank fe mo permanent secretary de bank fe mo nyaadi de bank e ka fo this a false report o man ke that's totally irresponsible for government officer so lo ka fo ko ali mo min bulal ko Allah taala aliya bondala do ko do aliya samana ko e ko left ma Gambia na fulola ke kiskis do ke to be bular pour yow do ko sifat so nyin kam nyin maro bala do ko la danina turn around e ka foko I report him is false. But follow ko alafta pur kata central bank iko hani aka alafta tala mundol fana ministry of income tax iko no.
Giare.
Yeah, so yalo follow interpretation cover income tax. Sorry about that.
Yes.
So basically ndanga menji be je wala nyende ko. Min fo wonde jahal news kambano min naran so.
Dr.
Atala responsibility from nyende kala min de wala nyende ko. Report bi je atanya ayanda fendene dal. If he saw any report that CCA min fintindi, yate appoint yodo ko deal. As far as integrity is concerned in the auditing profession, our responsibility is to Gambian people and then to the profession.
So there is.
But after another sign, after that it could be falling there, it could be so you could be a later than any other person.
So Dr. Iteba Fokaneko, this so fanati, there is code of conduct, there are ethics in auditing, and everybody should have that.
Okay, what like integrity?
Integrity or baby jail. So Monyanta was sotolale, nibe auditing kela, ila integrity, fang ikafu nyadi mandika kango to fang akapela beduna nyokono. Ila Mustafa, you have to come here. Ila foroya inyanta kantalale audit report mo ni mo auditor ila foroya andu fanan imanyan dula farlela ite ka tonya le sabatinde
imo tonya folalde
tonya fola abanda. So doctor nyine ma ko beti fanan, so which means ko so men fangonata anyanta make sure ko tonya e sabati amanya na nakarla.
Up till to this day, since he came in, but me can disappoint. Minister Kalo Kafoko is a mere opinion.
And not only that, Dr. Minister Sol Kafoko is false. That word false.
Well, the word yalong nyunko benjamin mon mi yalong ko nene me mera ke be fensoro inade fensoro. Worke fa la gad say tiñarol min keda. Ba so Gambia sa be kala no nyaadi le pour ka ñing ko ñing kess wala ñende ko ngasi nga jibe Mr. Sise lawyer mentor Mr. Dabo, the Supreme Court of the country. I think I jibe because don't say in the moment bake and sa be min be for science thing. Science with the Chief Justice of the country, and I know that Hassan will do his due diligence and provide the best opinion possible. But if there is a conflict between his firing, because me and the Jahal Wolanyente, Nidoko, you molde me alanga doku kendoke. Ya promote ke bakala minister. Then you turn aiko mokurungolong warante. I report on the Amanke report candidate. And they were confusing the Babakele.
Fabrita doctor, I mean, Nilmembe fango balanta. Yalo ni balanta eka fole munati na balanta. Munati na katina. Because more for Nigeria report to munati na ibalanta ledron imang access di.
Yeah. Gambia ko jahala one. I try to make sure that my phone doesn't die. But na banko nying ajahala warsare. So ndolmi yalon ko bijang londo do mol ko ya. Yalon ben taranadi am Gambia fana to kondo ba do fana ike chocho. So why Mr. Sise fana ko affect le? Because momi a professional opinion or di ako nyinde keda. Posa mo sa ko o manke tonyat. Woko de ajahala warsa bakele.
Because ya jele ko president no fango ba katunte ka fole ko nyi manke ko ye doku dole diala ya bayle because nyi mu bayro leti. So and Dr. Hanna quote at a court and nga foko okay auditor so mala case so win wo matin na ko reporto is false itol ka fo nyame.
Yeah, but ndera mingi beje nga report nga nyimfejo nga Chief Justice of the country nga batu yela opinion of the I'm very convinced that if you look at the Audit Act and you see the constitution of NGBA, iba jala ko Mr. Sise ya banya mi nga manyanda kela ko de mi anaka fenje da kadu ne mona da ko ye palaso del. Beba mari force la prawo palaso ta.
By force
She's a family sotole. Me along to Apitala J, Puranala Mudesi, Kachaka, Panyanta Yantala. So none of that Quaco honey left a Bepalaso Mendongataraye. Not neighbor baila.
Ha Dr. Ntolnga Jamfang, you work as a manager, you can more employee. I thought 2 days, 3 days, I contract go base, I no, I withdraw. And that is okay. Because people have the right to call. But Doctor, after you cooking fanang explain more. Nico, I mean, funds are unaccounted for or unsupported. What do mean? Because moja makafele ko unaccounted dia wodo imagine le dorong kansa abelarin dula do leto. Or ibe kaitol nati la le katu maybe imam pare for because ngaje dol ka fo iba ko but intol manna pa kaitol bedi. So ning audito ko unaccounted for and then unsupported femanying sembentu ya malo mandiga ko sometimes for angale dundorong unaccounted for unsupported for we mune mean ni ofo dol ka use le ko ha bari dol man na document sol nati ay nyinin kale mam pare folo ma diala folo wala tinna dol ba folo ko ha bari ay safele dorong amantol nyinin ka
but I kale manson. And then we call it scope limitation, SCOP. Okay. So now you're in Karo, Akwai ko left in a yen fintin na iman son cardiala. At a different sira kebato ala reporto fenkende. So saya kamendo ko left minna. So ala reporto ibna on the fenkela ibna tapala ya ko la kala kafoko but follow source documents is very critical. Whether it is procurement or any other item that they have to investigate. But I think this practice had been going on for a very long time. And sometimes we president blame. But I think we, in Gambian on me, along with Dokola Masakunda, had more Doka Masakunda, Dokota, Kunkola, Wati. It more Doka Masakunda, Dokota, Kafoko, near Sunyaroga, Itel Bafutuda. And then this has been the case. But I think I'm going saying, Mr. Jamme, I think Mr. Jobate. I think I sing GB Ngambatu for Chief Justice of the country near the side because Mr. Sisi are follower and most likely what is going to happen, they're going to rule in his favor. Tomando para ose mawe purna banko la kose as a better. But ndera di amola tra pola daming wala nyende ko. So Nico billion only they are missing. Ning itoloma la ko si se do ko minke o do ko manke do ko kendo ti. Masakunda ita external auditor samana. No external auditor maybe somebody can bond the Gambia Bank or you bond some other African country naranje. Tomando about what from being from Finland, what from dangerous than what Mr. is actually yes.
So is it audit on top of audit again? Okay, ntol mang agree nito ngata auditor do nati pour yake.
No, because Yalom Mr. Sise, another internal audit where he was working as an auditor general. Another responsibility, he cannot provide opinion. To be quite candid, Mr. Sisi's responsibility was to provide consulting and assurance services. So therefore, it all canal kafoeko, it all in the course and in the kete. But then external Yala hand can be more external auditor report in the kafoko for the State House of the country. Very Taraje. Did we have any external audit report
But
on the
doctor,
ministry.
asike no farang abe bulu ya nukun katu nying audit report of na balanta kunna le fo nying problem om ni Mr. Cisse wole ya fititi. Katu wobe la hadi jail and Mr. Cisse ne court o jube I meant for courthouse. Wole muko president ya fa kumandila ko ay nying ay landi katu nyimbati la election o tinyala le. So it could be external audit ketale but more malong because
But the external auditor also has a fiduciary responsibility to speak.
But then Dr. Cisse wouldn't have not Mr. Cisse wouldn't at a diamonola no ninin komanke because
yeah, but the external auditors hire what you are going to crew like that. It will find money and see the kid day. Do we know who? Do we know the external auditors of the Gambia? Do we know them?
Hani maolo wofonga wokol kisi. But doctor hani bi tell after clarification ya mako mena wolem unaccounted for iko sunyaro lem unsupported unaccounted for ito ko musunyaro ti namanke.
Be inko. Nico, because I was listening to one minister talking that for like discrepancy. But I have for kankahe tonyalo bri iman palaso to the ninga diamule, but sa ninga fembe konta mnyama tolti. But Nico unaccounted for, technically speaking, umusunyarolte.
Sunyarole what?
So Nico document, okay. What I don't understand, the documents are unaccounted for, right?
Yeah, unaccounted for because I'm just some of the things I picked up from the audit report. There are some documents, things that are not unaccounted for. They are unsupported. These are the two words I've picked up.
But okay, but understand. So you want to know nyadile.
Ikata iman documental to be told blue or proof that's so malo.
So you nyadile.
I don't know. They just paid the amount. They just took it. They do whatever they want. That was what happened in the audit report. They just do whatever they want without receipt, on supporting document, unaccounted for. They just do more malong.
Well, Ghana case is a very serious case, but ntola banko nyinga koja hala warta. Barante men jibe wala nyente ko. Ning internal auditor di amuta. Ako nyente discrepancy like pinti la Gambia banko ko. So ntanga min jibe je wala nyente ko. Because internal auditor report what can I follow jane external auditor report with pinti. So ntemi ente jahal wala nyente. I wish Mr. Cisse would have told us or for us to know. Were there any external audit reports?
Yeah, this is where the thing, because when you talk about opinion, because I read opinions there, but malong for atela opinion, but now you're saying that atebuka opinion di dole kadi.
No, internal auditors, the auditor general of the country, as long as you call him the internal, because we have to be very careful here. Okay, they call him the Auditor General.
Yes, he's called the Auditor General. That is the legal name.
But then they call it internal audit. So if they call him, which means that he's the Chief Internal Audit Executive of the Gambia, which is what the Auditor General. The Auditor General of the Gambia, who is the internal auditor, cannot give opinions.
But Dr.
Their only responsibility. Their responsibility is to give assurance and consulting services.
Yeah, but then the report they give, doctor, is real. It's not like you meant tabi.
Yeah, I know that, but internal audit, one can even say they actually provide comfort. And if there is any response, you see, when you are an internal auditor. The internal audit activity itself.
I'm just like this.
The internal audit activity itself. All of them, the activity, they have to be independent.
But that is
but a killing. If you don't go to kill, you ain't killing.
Yes.
The responsibility finance the kafoko. Nankulo kubuje miyalanko. Amu kuloto miyananko as a samano nyato. Imangina wa nyarala. But kuloto bi miyananko kukurun kulolo wodi. Ni nyente wo fola. Nyente wo wa nyarala.
Yes.
So Mr. Sise actually did that. But what I'm asking here is that right now we are in a catch-22 situation. This thing is under litigation.
Yeah.
Okay, and the report will never come out.
Because
so which means that they can doctor the documents now.
So even for doctor, chances are they can also doct it. Because
of course it's not there anymore.
General design nga moy molla ko afango man senea molla foroto. Iko afango ya muta nun ku dola abdoko ke kanun dame molla foroto.
Baro ko jalo warta kad ni ko mo iko nyam mo kendol.
Ntol nga wala moy de.
Iko yake minister.
Ha, because at the
akama song na ikuna ikamo kuro.
No. Iko nyinkuta mamem bije. So
used to be the Gulf director. So Gulf.
Yeah, but musor nyanda asula ko kada tinyaro minkeje.
Ha, iko so dunta kuru ndole te bari sa tele muntola auditor general ti doctor.
Bari I okodo min kasara ko musor la kodolo.
Ha.
Mena na musor te asula.
Ha, bari me follow.
But the Gambia Women's, Mr. Jamia for Gambia Women's Finance what?
I think it's Association Gulfer. Gambia Women's Finance Association.
Yeah.
So government, we need strong women. So ye musola kodo kasara. They say for their responsibilities of say ne musole kafunyo kan. Pure mano yasu.
No, but I think it will need this strong woman level lead kan. I think Fenke Iko for Madam Fatmata Tambayang was there, I guess. So strong women are there. But ndeka la fi mem for la Dr. Lafta Tala Dame wole muko ni ko sungolem and sungona ta kento la auditor generality. For ethics to auditing to be an auditor for ethics to je ko ajube ko itenyanta seneyala le.
What I integrity I'm also.
So natara ite fango ku kilin dorong ya foila koto fo wanyanta tara sira ay ke editor generality.
President all decision I make, but in my view, the foundation someone more they are capable in the country. You bring in somebody from outside to come in who had no experience whatsoever in our audit.
Somebody told me because somebody told me that he was in internal audit before. Somebody told me that because he was in internal audit before, but of course there is this other issue about criminal activity. Let's just call it what it is, because sunyaro mo criminal activity in the law. But doctor, yung implication le soto ntola financial accountability to. Membe finti sign audit report do ayimo implication economic implications on la financial accountability ti banko
akamena go ndo wakanda sama koma la bekan sama no nyato kadi no mi yalan ko ila karan ko nyi akolo mi yalan ko nyanda to patola atinyanta loptano la kodo ko nyi mi yalan ko nyanda kala atinyanta so ni e bojaro londe ko presence office yegina appropriate to you atol na dale ko do kasara e konto la banko min yalo ga economic collect e man son pour moina pour ke audit so to mando baraning Mr. Dabo kontato for la akonton so da mafo nako yala ka brag let cause way back breathing pejo te ko alin goal post ala move ni sembo fon so do so ko jama min collect. So saying ningil na de ko a mansong pro seasonal mode na auditing. So Gambia na flow minyan ta sotola wal doya ta side. Karo nyiri opportunity means so the me along ko Gambia na flow asta over ntenga predico if we are leakages nga means so na banko ka nga be sorong. There's a likelihood that we can collect $40 billion in the country.
Yeah, based along.
Yeah, but mommy along I do go kaye anyanta retire in not a 2-year contract out there. So basically he's actually the minister in a sense that he can do anything he want. So niya jibe musol kada musuni musol dara loptan olto mol sasa de dara loptan olto. Kodi borol tije masingol man taraje min se molla kol to pato. So ne mo kilen nata o mo jamal nata yo kodo yo kasare ya bonde je ya sambaja. Nde boran concern about is the GRA. Kar GRA wala nyanda molla na mo collect la. So little ko ye 22 billion no collect. Natara nyanda 40 billion no collect. Karende ngora for I wrote to them nko ko la kata ngila namu kodo ikami alka fa nyanda min collect la ala double ba. Modo ko nyek bal expenditure betas double anka hani ebe expenditure babula wala nyama. Let's have a surplus because Gambia la budget nyem fa ya jibe Gambia ngene man surplus soto. Gambia ka deficit la soto ni deficit e kamina ke kata kodo don to la kota ke pour ko deficit
this time you go a surplus le soto de this time you go a
no it's misunderstanding.
I realized that it was false.
No it's misunderstanding. Let me just tell you see they call it okay
said it, but
when they I wish I have time to talk about the budget of the country since Modi Abokanjan sign thing. Gambia nkamin nkafoko left now momin collect la tax and non-tax revenue. About is only 53%. So Gambia got thrown around Kafoko, ibita to outside entities, puri uri makoi, niyamoiko budget support, don't rot. So iba jaloko, breo akamdoko, that's keme o that's keme, ntolo Gambia, that is rule ni sabanko da malasoto. So akamena kontoro kata kakodo donto. So niyamoiko ye surplus, man surplus de. Ikaminke, your total appropriation, so total revenues, they have subtract from total expenditure. They have what they call fiscal deficit. Or fiscal deficit means ikata eta kodo donto. Internally, no grant, including the grant money. Grant money in for yale kamike. Yala ngawol for inko ko atoke nyiko kenyama amena kala onyama. So ito ko tibabolo be sire. Y'all promise they're going to give you 10 billion. Ite wo 10 billion ite wo saka ko ibo sotola. Nga ite wo lo nyaade le ko ni molye promise me na ko be nyindi le pe ba di le la ba. But ito ko saka la buko ko masa kunda ko international organization ko be 10 billion deal na iko ka fun na budget o be kanne.
That means which is not Dr. just for Molia Fahamko. That means it's just because I don't told careful and told managers we say projected. Projected these things, but I book the actual budget into because this is a thing you project because you will have they are not confirmed. So it will go later yake as like the actual money available.
Yeah, the actual money, but is it legally binding?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why that's why I told Melmanke accountants we are just managers. We talk about projected. Because
okay, but left you kukelen seni handi kadi ye fenna bujan sa ni alonko mo jama nyanta alon dole. So e ka ko kuli surplus soro. Nsa fo ko o manke to nyaati.
I agree. Yes.
Okay.
But I explain doctor as an accountant.
Okay. So wala nyinde ko yalo iko namo ikamin collect. Ni obi kafunyoka. Ani international organization ye promise me ke ko do min dilela. Iko obi na kafunyoka ko lo total revenue. The need to around iko if I left ming spend na. Ikamin spend wala siata inyanta ming sotola. So they call it fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit mean jani ba close la. Ikata kodol donto. Let me give you a case in point. It was last budget cycle when I looked at it. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 4 billion. And can I tell you, how long before even economy donto ka interest Joe Walto, interest iko jole. But inyanta molu iminya economy ye loan minta jani be jola obi kataraje. So Nico, Gambia government we have fiscal deficit of 4 billion. They, Mr. Jamin Safaleko, Gambia government will borrow 6 billion.
So I can't tell nya cool and tell me man cool understand.
Well, that's what they do, and then I don't understand the logic behind it. So I come in the ko Nintendo ngo yendon defender, Mr. Jamme ko nga ko faranta Mr. Jamme bulu. So bari jane be Mr. Jamme la kodo sayindila. O maki nyina da fana ka fo ko. Inyanda kodo min jola serum. Ima wo sara pour ka jo. So ka fo wole ko ya postpone. So ni ya postpone so the next year ni bina kela ika kodo don to pour ko jo. So now ko Gambia government ko a fiscal deficit la sort of 4 billion. Gambia government betale be 6 billion na dontala. Iba jala ko 4 billion wol bo deficit in close la. And the inyanta kodo min jole kodo you don't kodo min ta 2 billion you fanan kafige then is afo ko surplus. One time they said they had $1 surplus.
But doctor, that means ko it's like you musumo let katu ikafo nyamen ko rey buki sule buki. The whole national budget is based on that. Ika suluo faja ne suluo do mano nyadi mandika ko fanka fa nyadi ya bade wala mustafa ala kanale ni mandika ko ya bade wala because kodo buka taraje but ika they create things craftily created it in a way me along ko they can go to parliament kaitan a healthy budget to parliament, but as an accountant or somebody who has really had the profession can see through that.
Yeah, because we call it creative accounting. Bring what the minister of Bianca Olofo. And creative accounting. You play with our intelligence. You see the numbers, you play with the numbers so that you can get a surplus. And then continuously, because even now, right now,
stealing accounting.
Yeah, but we accountants, we use the word creative accounting.
Corrupt accounting, actually.
Yeah. But the near Jibe from Gambia la Bojoro Bonyama, Ako Jahalo Water, because even Bri Mola salary found increase, I queried about it. How could you increase salary in the middle of a budget year? And then in Malafali across the bank. What Nidoko, eating Kodorosoro. Minat Nebaforoko, they are giving you loan here and there and there and there. So I come to go already. And then can I tell you, I'm very surprised this year. Supplementary request. We are in October. The Minister of Finance has not made that. And then can I also tell you one thing? Gambia la na follow ni kaminke. E ka fola ko ndronga nyina domo. Bari nene ma foko etole min soro. Ni tara Ministry of Finance yela quarterly report je. Iba jela ko they will tell you ko January, February, March ndronga nyina domo. But billahi neta follow ko itule min muta o min nata. If you go to the Ministry of Finance, that is the case. So I come to control the motor boring nga bit in the motor boring door. So go kata basele motor boring la but nga bit what Gambia problem because the minister all the way from whoever, Amadu Sade found officer at Domande because Amadu Sade, when he was minister, at least at one time, they had a true surplus. But all the other ministers that came, of course, that was Mamura Njai, and again, Mr. Keita, we never had any surplus. Surplus will only come Nintadang Kodo Donto Purka close. So the question here is this. So mbesirin janko modu nyim billion ba fole ko yinne filter. So Moses si ka ko be monza kunda doku wala warante minister ti Ika foko ye doko di min ne ko mo kendo lo atilinta. Iko ye doko kendo ke. Para bimbe kala minister ko manso minister ya. Sai kana finde ka foko fara mo kurmo. So Gambia case is very sad. But we continue to have the same problem over and over again. Nun se singa mashallah. Ninga jumo nata Juma Mubarak. But yesterday we are the most corrupt people on earth.
Thank you, doctor, for that. Thank you, doctor, for that.
And the media ko he wumnya told. Amana kanu.
Omo ye oppose ite kake nyama, especially strongly with evidence, with proof. Ite kake nyama told it, doctor.
Yeah, inte right now, until political leaning one year ago. I don't support anybody anymore because ndeki yo parra Gambian ko la fola sai. Kadi lata minila. Mini ka yin chocho diamo ke. Ni nata mini ka diamo ko damfule. Mini yano go be siri man fenko wala ba enjoy ka. Ba mi ente jahal Gambia la kodor wala nyindo ko. Nyin kodo mi yalon ko kwa filter. A filter bank for a bank account. Do we even know that some of these people are they building this guy?
Malon filo wolem the best explanation. Iko imagine. Imam kodo nyinje. Yalo na filita ka fala filitale. But iko imagine.
Imagine if we can tell them of anyare bi. Yala mi ente jahal. Mi fa ente jahal Gambia la port.
I'm taking the also.
I'm very, very concerned about the fact that Tumando Bato, Yala Ninte Dolunga for Africa, you still support President Barrow. But in Americas, until we are mostly responsible for what is going on in our country.
How about doctor for responsibility the president? Because doctor just take an explanation the Nyame Willem. As a manager sitting here, doctor. Oku tata wrong in my department, doctor. I'm held responsible.
Yeah, that's true.
December, when the KPIs come, the results we are supposed to report back to the government, new monkey, I have to be accountable. Nobody, the state wouldn't come to me and kafoko. Ila safol be nati ba niye kacha honey. They talk to me. KPI nying, they talk to me. Results on make, they talk to me. Muneketa. What happening? So the president, the buck stopped at him because President Memphang code at Molia Nyaku, Ikaiko, other report opinion. Afanayo sang faka denkilla. So, doctor, at the end of the day, Gambiano ya tele elect, ya tele vote, ko kabringata ngai ko do civil service reform, constitution kuto natin tolie. Security reform. He hasn't done any of these things. He hasn't. In fact, akamenke nani nite jalia asipraso ditela. Aite kumaniad. Nyumel bukatonya fae it atul enimility. Ay bankota ay Gambian solke ko ay beke sadadani lati. Because you ikata sadada no ka ayale purka do kosoto. That's how this situation is now. Either afanga ya fole. Ako ilafta doko kela Gambia o ilafta kol kela iko inate te doko kela. Yo moy munto. Then ite kuke nola. Afanga ya fole. So it's like the state sanctioned poverty. Gambians are put into a extreme poverty situation because the president wants it. Ko natara imante support natara iman lafintela natara imante like you are going to die poor. Now he put Gambians, if not even an excuse for them, but if an professional, but he put them in a situation that Nemotaya staff fata to a point after fala. Hey, fire people. So this is where I'm having a problem sort of with the president because Nimbe aya moile, Nimbe aya jele, and doctor. For 8 to 9 years, you are the head of state. Niman Karan during that period. Niman Kol Faham during that period. You have all the resources around you. Near auditors all nata. Ima understand. You have other people You are the president. Anybody you call as an accountant or auditor will sit with you to explain these things, to make you understand it. You have a comment for all the time. You get alternative opinions. That's why you have it. But we have a president who doesn't care. At the last minute, at the men sotola, about enjoy la, all the luxury sotola, melba dala faran, they all have the luxury, iba jali yala, and he continue with that. So, doctor, the problem is the president at this moment.
Okay.
I agree. But if the structures are in place, doctor, everybody has a KPI. The ministers have to be checked to deliver. Every month, you have to come and tell us what you have delivered, what we agreed on. Every month, you have to tell us what is going on. Areas men problem obije, molka kumo men for problem. Auditor nata, report on nata. Mbe kumanele ministry by ministry, and I have my team of experts sitting next to me to help me explain this and help me talk to the minister to solve it. But he's not care. The man doesn't care, doctor. The man is a security threat to the Gambia. He's a security threat to the state. Security threat to State House. So this is where the problem is, doctor. Because
what is the solution?
He should go. Simple.
So how can you go? How can you go when you have 12 people vying for the same office?
When you have what? 12
when you
people
have 12 people wanting to be president.
Dr. Yalonte, I believe in one thing. Nintol Beko, man lafi, parola. Nintol be agrita ko, ibena kodo pisi pasarkan, baro bena pisi kodo pisi pasarkan, sunyaro be caring, audit report be caring. Doctor, if all of us decide not to vote for Barrow, there is no amount of incumbency that will keep him there. That's my belief.
Yeah, but opposition of unite, how do you expect?
Doctor, unite or not? I would love to see collusion, but collusion without collusion. The situation of this country, Gambia believe that honestly, honestly, Dr. Niman Barrow vote at a silaje. Unite or not? Nima vote because we have people. Because, doctor, Europe was not built in a day. America was not built in a day. They have to sit and unsit. They had dictators, they had criminals, they have all kinds of presidents. Because they elect, unelect, elect and unelect. And that's what we should accept. Fantastic if we have a coalition. Yes, if we don't have. The situation of the country demand that Barrow shouldn't be the one taking over. And every Gambian, Ninko, majority of Gambian vote against Barrow. Dr. Atesilaje.
I tend to understand where you're coming from, and from experience, if the opposition want to win, it should be a united front. But as long as we don't have a united front, I'm afraid the status quo is going to prevail. For the simple fact that
that means Gambians want him there. As simple as that. Because Dr. Nde, I am intolerant to the incumbency thing, because we create this incumbency to the point that it became even an advantage to Barrow. Because Momo data incumbency,
so it's a responsibility as a citizen of the Gambia, because since 1999, total opposition over even high school.
Yeah, exactly.
And since high school, I've always been in opposition. Yes. But then sometimes, mira, unite. If the opposition is not united, I am looking at the fact, that when it comes to urban area, it will be a challenge for the president. But going into the provinces, it's going to be a challenge for the opposition. Because if you look at Janjambure Basse, and then you go to the Salums, and then you go to Farafenye, and then you look at lower Nyomi and upper Nyomi, it's going to be very difficult. So I think I'm very frightened about Gaminol Kaminke. Well, I just want to just be objective and just move on. But if the opposition is not united, Barrow will prevail, because all of us are from the provinces. Of course, Niajibe on the Sadawda Kairaba Jawara. May his soul rest in peace. Ndobrimbe High School or even primary school, that's Passaman's Road, coming for no. I used to think it was Casaman's, the Passaman's Road, right? So, yeah, Mojibe mi alonko ibe wuli mafonla wuli east. Kantora all the way to have a coin mafon. Me alonko, it would take no more than 60 miles from there to Basse. Me alonko ni bilana it used to take them how many hours per kata. Basse from cross kata wuli was very tough for the people. So those people, I'm not trying to say they are ignorant, no, but they don't even know the impact of corruption. So ni mo na ta yele silo da la fi ngol be kaje nin katre fa yo na de be katre fa la jamale. And look at the also Opanyomi, right? Niya give a wo silo ni they had a name for it that it just escaped me. Hakalan Road. Maninjala Songo, since he was a minister, they had been talking about Hakalan Road. May his soul rest in peace. So, Nia Jibi, Walla Walla Sai, Nim Momi Alongo, Ibota Hamdallah, Ibota Fenki, Atondile Albreda. Follow Nim Molbi Osilo Mutakabanam Bara, Kataje, it took them how many hours to get home? But now it took them 45 minutes. So I think it's going to be a big challenge. But if the opposition comes together, then they have more opportunity. I know that it's...
Okay, Mr.
I don't dispute, we'll conclude that probably. I don't dispute the fact that they would, the coalition is important. But I'm also saying that those roads and those places, they are not putting the food on the table for these people.
Of course, I agree with that. Never for them.
They all are suffering. So if Barrow is going to lose, it's going to lose based on that. You put the roads, who is going to travel on that road in the Moro table?
In fact, the president has appetite for infrastructural development, but they don't have any appetite for our health. They don't have any appetite for agriculture.
No, not even our food, because farmers sold you batari nyame. So this 2026 is going to be election about the life of the people. In fact, so these are some of the challenges. So the president cannot win just because of the roads. Gambia dingol, mambalang doctor again. I would love coalition. I would want coalition, but I am pragmatic. I always want to have alternative. The point is that nin coalition na masoto. Nto lenye ta stop this incumbency discussion or like this the how do they call it? The strength of the incumbency. What we should be doing, don't vote Barrow because this evidence will be jailed. Barrow is the evidence on Barrow is even worse than we haven't seen. We hear the TRC letter to confirm that. A lot of time in the rumor TRC Barota is out there with evidence. So it's easy to get rid of this man. Gambians, you have the power. Ikoy man lafi, ikoy batatale, ikoy man domoro sotono, ikoy me dingola school fiso jono, ikoy man ladu la sotono, ikoy buka hanyi fintilam bedo kono because be attack la, then don't vote for Barrow because Barrow will be president. Simple. Then whilst we negotiate on coalition, we are already preparing the people ko. Ning coalition manke, Barrow tetarali. But it man call be change kan. We've seen incumbency losing in countries. In fact, the trend is so interesting. Looking at the trend in other African countries, Mayalonko incumbency is losing. It's now the new trend. So what is different from Gambia? And the Wolfango Mantarawo bad situation of Mayalonko told Gambia dingol back on a farm. Told man even close to those people they are situated. So I understand your point and I agree with you that we should have a coalition, but we have to also be able to tell the Gambian people, without a coalition, we should be able to take this person out. The incumbency, I'll tell them, sembetioti sembo tabul akana ko le sunya akana moto le sunya silol men dada ibebe tinyakam because na silol dada men keta 1 million we after 500,000 tatale already ila jifol kono. So what kind of thing are we talking about? Be fakang every time Facebook ba mo be fakang ini mo kachata bi sama fata ini mo ta bi sama fata ibe mo treat la with diabetics medication somebody who have asthma. So we see all these things happening. Doctors are complaining they have the skills but they don't have the resources. So there's a lot happening. Me ko amanke feniati amanke ka baro social amanke ka kumo fo men ka tonyati, but there is a lot happening in this country. Go Gambia no ka feel day in day out. So need to decide the ko ibe baro level 2026 abe pulije it's only
Akumada Bake
that I took over the
no, it's all good. It's all good.
So sorry. Because
Right.
this studies report gets into me, you know,
I know.
and it's an opportunity to have doctor here to really remove all these question marks that are there.
Makes sense. Mr. Conte, doctor, Inimbara, thanks once again. Quickly, Yensula Nyinku Konobake. Wolon lafte min bonni nyoto. Kudantan lom, Belamai Kangalamai. Yafu. Oh, okay. The line
Just
went.
doctor, maybe I'll battery father.
Maybe
Battery father.
Yes. But me and concern Nyinku Konobake and they wolom I internal for Janne, I external for. And then another for auditor general. So mal ñing cool if dunda ñoo ko ñaadile internal external.
Well, I was getting him to explain.
Aning auditor general. And a near jibe I come off ala di amon kono jang it account no kanyu bonka may no have an alakavo. Creative accounting. But
that's I call corruption accounting.
You know, so creative accounting, my interpretation for that, you know, indigo, stealing by trick.
Yeah, it's corrupt accounting, simple.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, look, Mustafa, take off this creative accounting. Maybe in Europe it works because there are checks and balances. There are system in place to look at it. But creative accounting, then corrupt accounting. Because when doctor is explaining these things, you can just see, because they use it to steal. How can this amount of money be missing in our country and nothing happen? How can, in fact, Yalong, Dr. Bafoloko scary. For me, men scary that. Well, we have billions missing, unaccounted for, unsupported. Na president will be sitting to even kick out the auditor that has even unveiled this. Ministers coming to defend this. That is more scary than anything, because that shows that we are dealing with criminals. We are dealing with criminals. So this is it. And okay, doctor, I will leave Mustafa to ask. We lost you a bit.
Yeah. What happened when my phone went? You know, its battery is dying.
Yeah, we thought that, but I'm sure we'll soon. Mustafa,
I just got a little concern. Jan kukile insula nyinku kono vake, Mr. Conte, doctor. Wolo nyintiko ya for ila diamo kono ko internal audit. Ya for kotenge ko external audit. Ya for kotenge ko auditor general. Ya for kotenge ko fenne be alla nyin terms to alkamin foko creative accounting. So nyunkol be mu kullete minni alonko lafte ya mako e demanding ya kono fandunia, because for Gambia ye external audit sotole, for ye auditor general sotole, for ye internal audit dorone soto nyin taminono dil be priya for basic bunjurun koe aya understand isaje, because nyin ko wulta min kama program nyin nangani wulta min kama wala nyinte ko kamol fahamde kamol kunende kato mo ni man ko diala a London de Londo diala mi alonko nim monata kan ata nene nalo momo e kala fele dimbal momo e kala fele elam mol ye kuning ando nila mo kuninda weapon man tambe wala mo buka nene no because of a kunindal alon ne dunia katama nyame pour que nyim ni nyoto internal audit wolon jamati anin Gambia e audit si fanya de la soto kilim fala nyamo external audit wolon jamalti fu Gambia ya soto la bang saba ning wobi je Auditor General wolon jamati nyim kusabol nyim to sabol kadum dul sabi jinkol bul nyotole mako jamba doctor.
Okay, Abaraka, your question on better Abaraka. So following let's go back at the setup. According to the overview, for the National Audit Act of 2014, 16 or something, says that they are under the Ministry of Finance.
Well, internal audit on the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
Okay.
And that through the Directorate of the National Audit. And that National Audit was on Auditor General.
Okay.
So there are two types of audits: internal audit and external audit. But then, momi yalon ka be dokola mansakunda dokola. Ite o hire la kapo ko kele external auditor.
So what Gambia bitilo internal audit drone neka keje hanin na auditor general aka internal auditing drone neka wala ka Gambia.
The internal auditor, no, external auditor ka keje. External audit fanantela.
Okay. Wala ka bomundo.
But more external audit report, more also follow. We don't have the report.
Okay, Jamal le nyanta wokela.
That's a very, very good question, because that was what I was referring to when they set up this National Audit Center. Audit committee that the audit committee will be responsibility to approve internal and external auditors hire.
Yes.
And that they should be reporting to them. So the internal auditor akamendo ko monta kunda kono. Ibe doko kala je wole be kiskis block la yamoro dila. Foni external auditor akamendo ko ila korda kono ila korda.
I get that.
Ibe mol taramiano ko ila korda be ko kiskis la je fo be betaya. Jani ibe mo fundindela from outside anela korda kono ko kiskis. Yeah. So external audit report on you. That's what I'm asking. Where is it?
Yes. Because ning atarano internal draw akadawaleto and no internal what they are answerable to the Ministry of Finance. Wolke dankolela. Yamera tilling of betarala ko kono laban ning atarano tere kafo ko binyin ko kono. Yamera tilling of tarno jeleva.
No, that was the question that I was asking. When they set up this internal audit, you set up follow. That was what I was questioning. Why would the internal auditor or the auditor general report to the Minister of Finance? I think the auditor general should have been an independent agency. They are only reportable to. They should only report. In fact, I'm very concerned even if they have to report to the National Assembly. My concern was that, or my suggestion was that they should have set up the same thing, just like they have the Civil Rights Commission, where they are totally independent. Because you see, the Auditor General, in my view, is basically the chief audit executive of the country.
Okay. Yalong be mu place le de makam le de mini yalongo ngamira pour banque de ngole si e ka carte fay nyimole ngamara wala nyanda kala because ni ajibe the Gambia Police Inspector General for nyanda independence lale national human rights independence lale bari dan dulale bela kati nim man sakunda ka doku kala because dandulale bela e ka dandame so nyim molbe nyim bodil be e manyana dandula sotola ne ataranu itol bije pour que banque dingol le nyaajo fita bari wota kala no luwati fo ni National Assembly seat yaaje ko nyim luwale te ko audit office amma mota bailano mota dundilano la palace or that sort of thing National Assembly le luwalo ne ko mota bailano mota kelno Inspector General from the same National Human Rights fanam bari National Human Rights fenne bije some jargons bije la minni alongo dandula le bela President Oka Sembo Klano Jekan, according to I spoke to Emmanuel about this. President of Fana was Sembo Sulmi along with Danbula Betul Fanan. But a new Bakamol Mim Babe and Tolbulletin, a bigele ko, danko dorong, Kamonyako. Yakuma for Allah Diamokonoja. Yalong lafta ku killing a banak, Ning Nyone, Abuka Dianye. Akaduna bake no because nyone ne nyanda danal fo nyone ne long amount lo nyone ne long figures to nyone ne long kate fayoto nyone ne to mbalasilo de dal nyone ne long banyinkela le mbagani comme nyone ne nyanta banal andu ifele kuma kilim folla de amokono nka ma atul accountant ni auditor bro anka ma alka fo bak alka fembi alka make of creative accounting ndeko stealing by a trick ndeye todo de la jam wolon su yaro te brought their life. So you know mo fenne de meaje ka ke aka donko kono woto tilingo man tarako kono komi alon ka nyanta lankene mala gambe dingo be yaje yalon mako e jamba nyamende nyin ko be kere ne doctor andum lafta e bam andum lafta ay bo nsa ke no nyaade le pour nyunu ye bo ko jara rango ba kelamene de doctor.
Okay, so ninko creative accounting that's just a diplomatic way of stealing.
By trick.
By trick. Ye call jahas nyokan do man din promo kana long. Punya de kala nyame because on ya turn around puya nyande baraman ke tonya kesode. Polon creative accountant. Na budget nyampa ika wala ke ni na budget nyinda da. Isafo ko we have a fiscal deficit of 4 billion. But it will deficit on ye kodol min donto nyande joro min kala protocol jo imam yo joroke so e katala e kodo donto domestic sources and external sources no faran seron e nyanda min jole ma jono so nim 4 billion fiscal deficit e osoro e kana 6 billion donto yo 6 billion donto e bo 4 billion jola wol bonda deficit o nyangono and ye 2 billion fana yo inyanta more jola mene ojo then they tell you that they have a surplus. That's creative accounting because you play with the numbers. Basically that's what's happening in the country, and it has been going on. Gambia nenemang fiscal surplus canal natare inata e kodo dondo from outside na yo kafunyokan coming up on o gaming for 4 billion but it is 6 billion donto yo 4 billion yo landi o in fiscal deficit ka equal surplus. That's what is happening because it's a phone in Ganyan Fendafana. Minat na water when they set up this budget appropriation. Minat every time kamo iko budget support. Nka for Gambia, dalas keme. Nyanta min sotola puro na budget. Ndolo ke min dama keno wolong dalas talu ning sabati. Wo dalas tanan worawla. Ikatai ko dontole. Wait, when every single time you hear budget support, I World Bank World Bank basically that's what it is. But in donor opportunities in our country, pour revenue collect. Because following way back when Amadou Sane was there, if I'm not mistaken, GRA was only collecting 14 billion. Idada ya kafukoten ke tada 18 billion. So saya ko ila budget ni atara jelle found 20 something billion. So organization of me along go follow sanjit most of sanjit tankoma it look amen collect 14 billion. But say in the 2025 kono almost over 2024 water tambitale. So now they have the ability of collecting 22 billion. So they added 8 more billion per collect. You also to collect 40 billion. I'm not trying to pick on anybody who works for the works at GRA. Every GRA employee in the country needed a bunkono. Even Malapurukasi. Because that's where you make the money. So this is the problem we have in the country. But right now, ndega mi nyanda mi ko
No, Dr. Janika Sawinjela, lafta koi senea. Every GRA employee,
yes
nita la bongono, iko ibe malaka sije, nyadi muna na yo, muna keta.
ni mal na mo nyene gamin tara Gambia mo la ngabe do ko la GRA ite la corda visit ite la bungo be mal pour kasi
Muna atina.
kadi fen so ye defa ma so in United Kingdom
Iko oke no nyadi.
opportunity e meso o na mo ñu collect
Anide, niko opportunity long kanamo collect for opportunity kasunyaro ke for opportunity kamol nakare wala kamol kunami makoy.
ani yalon birinde ke criticizing ko Gambia la GRA is almost like a football field. You have the left wing, you have the center, and you have the right wing. Wala nyinde ko natare ite nyanda masakunda jola $100 isla. There is a possibility that ko ite you only going to pay 30%. So masakunda be 30% sotola. Ite mi alon ke be collection on yinkala. Most likely you get another 15. So basically, that is what's going on in our country. We don't have any accountability. Because if you have the GRA, Masakunda Blami Alon Kwanyata Namo Kolekla, Itoloko, Auditor na Kabo Kiskis Le Manson. So Kukuru Labie. Ni ilabunda, ni ndakombina beduna la bunkono. Imanson Purga Dunje. Then there is something wrong. Ni de o sembo dindela ko iko nti nyanta nale ila bungono pour kanela bungono ka ko kis je then I have every right so nanyel nara jay ko hani ikela fa ku nyin ko kele ko hana ta kala then suspicion on nyin level nyin fenjala and then more me yalon ko they represent the president wolon the president of the county is a moy wala ka foko audit report is a mere opinion. That's totally irresponsible. But did the president say that? No, it was his surrogates who said that. Anytime I have a meeting with the president, that's what I will tell him. What I need to go, your people are making it very difficult to support you. For the simple fact that Molbe Kuke kan Gambia, ko jahala watala Mr. Jeremy.
Akumara bake. Watu tata famfeng ngalong kongo bela wala mindo bela nyinte.
No, I'm fine. I can talk enough because that's what I do. Daraja. But that's the biggest problem we have in the Gambia. Wala nyinte ko. Molme yalo ko yenta represent. Molme yalo ko we have been in the struggle with. Wala diamade ko ya jama munyente. Sometimes in the season Gambia for a mistake or kalaba. I ask this question. Have we made a mistake? Have we made a mistake in Gambia? For a mistake or kalaba? Because sometimes I cannot believe kudol kabomodo dark on a kafo. I can't jahaleko. Ndoroko ya jame was a dictator. Iko ya jame bankola na fulo beta. But Simon Beke kan Gambia ko jahala wartare. Because it's a mono mo iko do mando moroso. Mola dingola mando ke bado be diamuka ko ila tia ko nyin. This man went all the way back to 2024. Akwela tio nyin hanka bi monsakunda nyante jola mene ima dila. 2025 ana January ibiri fe wono waf. Imang monsakunda mejo. So, new season for a most likely in December, January, they will not be able to pay them. So, akamendo missed priorities are in the country. Nyanta minkela mbikake. Akamendo ko momola na fabad loud wala bije na diata yetaraje. Ibe pende follow for me alonko. He say, how can anyone kafoko auditor report mean the it's just an opinion. It's a professional opinion. You are in news broadcasting. Ms. Jabate also is in another profession. But a professional. Yenda kala kende kala pro ila londo se faham pro molsa understand. But Gambia akam dogo feo left akala ako jahalo kawara bakala. Sakono ko mini anga minister wala kalo kadiam kafoko. It's just a mere opinion. Warane kafoko Nying report min dia man katonya. So basically, they aiming for people have to make a decision in the country to see nyanda mingela for the best of our country. But other than that, I think we'll continue to be in this thing for a long run.
Akumara bake, doctor, waru rara famfanke, kuma kangol fotale e moitale, barsaing, malum fonin de nyinin ka dosu do banning wonte, kuma jawalla bijam minni alon ko nyande fulal ngame bina murna janna nga nyen jibe ku kotenke abar ni binala ibe domro kala le kono e fa e tolfo e tolfo because kala fele pour ka tol fanam fo because saying mfutata tembel do tembeda la mi alon ko nyandan ka nyo to fo nga nyo shute because ne wonte akatu fonyo kono wala nyama mol sa defend nole tere ka fol minni alon ko e ba kono ne ajibe minni to ka fo brin sanji tan woro komando womo kilingol le toga fo hanibi foldrone anoba foldrone sa ke noba foldrone tamo gambia tiba nyanda nyinne jibe la nyofe nga nyo kunindi nkana kori nkana nyo korendi nga nyo karandi fana komara par bi jannim bida malon de fo fenso to jannim be kamin foko final thoughts kono to dia de malon fo fenso to
yeah just ndelo ta fala doctor ya al fole ko menyanta kela wolem ka committee in set up maybe nin doctor say will just think like lasting or coming solution or ye committee call for like that should be set up malum fo dam malem or what else ya mi da wonyanta kela excelling audit surrounding the audit.
Yeah, I'm glad work kumara bagame for nyado ko follow kado. Okay, so now you're dealing with a professional organization. Mialonko is sanctioned through international standards. Gambia is a party to it. So near lual landeko niba do ko le itanyanta nyinne kala nyanta tilinale do imanyana ku kurukela niba lo do ko wala. So neither ko ye auditor general ya appoint. But auditor general according to the overview Jangoko, the auditor general is on the auditor general is under the Ministry of Finance. And then he turned around well, the Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, if I'm not mistaken, correct me, Barangamara is also on the Ministry of Finance. I think so. There you are breaking.
No, I'm not sure with that. I have to check. In fact, I have to go back to check because what is on the, as I said, 2015 National Audit Act, the Auditor General is not on the finance. So this is, I have to check and see if the document is there, it's not passed. Yeah, I have to really check that. Maybe, Mustafa, maybe the next thing is to bring, I don't know which, maybe the auditor office to see if they will come. I don't know if these issues will make them not to come and explain, or maybe somebody from the National Assembly Committee to come and explain, clarify this, if this was passed or not. But somebody from the audit probably, or maybe Noah might know because Noah tend to get some of these documents as well. We might have to bring to clarify this because what I read is that 2015 National Audit Act, the auditor is independent.
But remember we're in 2025. Do they make any changes?
So that's why I said that there might be, Gambia is not good at updating things. You see, this is where the problem also is. And of all, the president is even using an old book or the latest. Yeah. That's not available to the public.
So let's go back here. Audit committee. Near audit committee set up. I'm just trying to reference it as the Human Rights Commission. They will be responsible for hiring the Auditor General and also the external auditors. But in the absence of external auditor, no mail report or D. And what actually bothers me is that all what is going on now, nobody has made mention of external audit. Because internal auditor report ni, well, internal auditor jana bala do kendo kela. Ate fe mi befo external auditor la nyanta la koma ay ko kiskis kotanke.
But doctor, maybe they don't know, because that's why this discussion was very important, because I didn't know that external auditors would have to. For me, the audit report is out. That's it. That's final. They just have to act on it. The government has to just implement the changes or the issues they are talking about. So I never knew that after that there would be external audit. So I think this conversation was really good to bring that out as well. And then, of course, that will be the follow-up question we are going to also ask other people. Hopefully we'll manage to get them to explain to us.
But do you have a copy? Do you have the copy? Because most audit reports are standard.
I have the copy. I have all the audit 2001, 2021, 2022, 2023. I have all the copies.
No, but the findings.
Yeah, I have. There's a summary as well on that. That's what I thought, that there was an opinion already.
Let me ask you this: in the findings, they say they have given unqualified opinion.
Yes. They talk about they've given, there is this, is it unqualified opinion? Yes, they've given, actually in that's where they had, from 2021, 2022, 2023, they really gave government that the reports, the accounting, the figures, the numbers are not accurate. That was very clear there.
Yeah, but did they use the word adverse opinion?
Yeah, it was, I think it's adverse. I have to check, but it was very clear there.
Did they give a disclaimer of opinion?
Disclaimer of opinion, I'm not sure about that part, but I know that it's very clear. I will send you the report if you don't have them.
Near disclaimer of opinion, so they can be following. You soon can't tell so much that
Yeah, but that is exactly, yes, because that's, in fact, when I went through it, I said, this is the worst I've ever had. When the audit, in the audit report, they're saying that in the opinion that, whether opinion or what, but the summary is that the numbers are not accurate.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. How do we classify the Auditor General of the country? The Auditor General of the country, is he an internal auditor or an external auditor?
That's news for me. That one is news for me now that you talk about external and internal. But I'll send you the report, doctor. You can also go through it. And then we would follow up on this, because we need people to understand this thing. Because that's the whole purpose of this civic education program we have every Saturday, to get a clear picture of the issues.
But you have another person who retired as the Auditor General.
Yeah, Karamba. Yes.
Karamba.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll reach out to him. He's
because we need this. This is serious. Because what doctor has raised here is really serious issue that everybody needs to know.
And what we'll do, I'll reach out to him. I think I'm
Please
going
do
to
that. Let's bring Karamba today, and then maybe doctor even at the same time, even if doctor has time as well, so that we go through.
Because the role of the National Audit Directorate is internal audit. So I'm confused when they call you.
Doctor, wait, you said the National Audit Directorate, you said?
The National Audit Directorate.
That is different from the Audit Office, National Audit Office.
I know that.
No, I'm asking question because I don't know. For me, it's like, yeah, I didn't even know they have a directorate. I thought it's just the Audit Office, the National Audit Office.
Let me go back here and then let me go back here and read this to you.
Please do that, doctor, because honestly, we need those clarifications here so that people can get it.
Okay, just one second.
Sorry, be okay.
Okay. It said the role of internal auditor in the Gambia, public sector accounting / government auditing. It says the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, that was, and then the Public Finance Act of 2014. It says that the internal auditor in the Gambia operates under the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs through the Directorate of Internal Audit. So, Mr. Cisse, mandated by the Public Finance Act of 2014 and Financial Regulations of 2016. And the objective is to enhance accountability, transparency, and integrity in management of public resources. And it says here, it says that the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institution is a global body that brings together national government audit offices, commonly known as Supreme Audit Institutions, from countries around the world. It serves as an umbrella organization for external public sector auditing, promoting international cooperation, professional standards, and knowledge sharing among government auditors. So basically, the Auditor General is on that. And again, this was founded in 1953 that Gambia is part of. And then again here, what I was just explaining to you is that if we look at the National Audit Office, we're looking at the structure. And in fact, again, the African continent also has AFROSAI, AFROSAI, African Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions. We have that. The Europeans have it. The Asians have it. So when we look here is okay. Here we go. Relevance to the Gambia and other nations. The National Audit Office, that's what they call the NAO of the Gambia, is a member of AFROSAI, the African regional branch of that. Through this membership, the Gambia gains access to global auditing standards. So as long as Mr. Cisse was following that, I don't see how anyone can dismiss him. So this Gambia, the audit is a Public Finance Act of 2014, provides authority for internal audit activities. And what I'm trying to say is there is no way anybody can tell me that the Auditor General of the Gambia is an external auditor. It has to, he or she has to be an internal auditor, because you are looking at the affairs of the government within, but in order to lend credibility to the report, you also need to have external audit. So unfortunately, we don't have those reports. And let me go down here and tell you this. It says that the Directorate of Internal Audit, DIA, serves as the central body of coordinating internal audit functions across, guess what, ministries, departments, and agencies. So what Mr. Jammeh has gone, right?
Yeah, but it's okay.
So,
I'm just here. I'm sure he also
right?
probably the battery went down.
Okay. So what we have to do now is I will be available to further talk about it, because I think Karamba Toure will be a good resource to talk about that. But in my professional opinion, I just want to make sure, just to tell you, that we also need to look at the constitution of the country. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to look at the auditor's report, because you have external auditor.
I will send you all of them. I have them.
But I don't think he gave an opinion. He probably wrote a comfort.
I'll send it to you. You will get all of them. I'll send you all of them, and then you can look at it. And then also, I'll talk to Mustafa to get Karamba in, and of course, maybe try to get even Noah in, because I'm sure there would be clarification external.
But Noah is an employee, right?
No, but Noah usually get this kind of information all the time. We used to bring him here, but he's busy. We wanted him today even, but he was busy. I think it's last minute thing, because he actually talked to these auditors. He's an auditor, I think, in the in the UK, but he normally contact them and getting these documents from them. Sometimes we do.
In fact, I talked to him. When you talk to him, I asked him about this, that I asked him whether the Auditor General is an external auditor. I don't think the Auditor General is an external auditor.
Okay, we'll get that, because next week we will continue this, because we try to get them to come, because this thing, Doctor, is very important. Some of these issues you've raised is really important, because we need clarity. We need to know if this government also is working on two different documents, or they are operating two different documents, because 1 minute is this, next minute is that. So we need to also get that clarity. Which document are we going to use? What are we going to use to reflect on? Is it the National Audit Act 2015, or is it the one you are using? Which one is it? So we need to really get that. And yeah, I think this conversation was really good, Doctor, to really highlight small things we don't know, because we are not accountants. We are not financial people. I am not, neither. I don't think Mustafa also is. But of course, for me, I read things just as a manager. As a manager, you should be able to read these things for your own job and your own work. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is knowledge sharing, and we should not shy away from sharing knowledge with each other, because this is what we need in our country.
Yes.
But again, Mr. Jame is back. We need clarity on, because nobody can convince me.
Yes.
Nobody can convince me the Auditor General of the Gambia is a external auditor. Nobody can convince me.
Okay. What we'll do, let's pencil peg it here for today, and then you can share your final thoughts with us. Ila kono to dia B na kacha kumoto, and then ale mabe next weekend, but trial nga Karamba try. I'll try and reach out to him. Karamba dobia itara gunjur dobia itara serakuna mala badal daming. Well, try and reach out to him or the brother and see from Basel no le pray na aya funye nying intana, because young yalon de minkang sula ko kono fe fe ngabe nukuning ikamol kunami ni min kunami ro wala kamol ne minna ila nyin terminologies ni ila nyin tamnyol igni min kana mol kam pour kamol nene ndekala fi nga wolle wanyar, because ni wolka wanyar like ni na rega fko bandronga mo le ko nyimu nyinne. So ning yalon ning mol nate kan itol lafta ite mim moy by force hanni atam ni be saba sanjale e ka surwa kam fola la nyini price surwa kam fo pri lafta message min for I tell. I don't understand no. Par ni mala fe min moy e ka tamle use me along ko mo ba ko la mol bul min ya along ko be wol leji.
Mustafa, you are hacking. I don't know where you are, but you are hacking.
Your name after all about. So be your final thoughts.
Well, the final thought, this is very good for us to all come together for knowledge sharing, because that is the case. So I'll be more than willing to come and share the knowledge, but I just want to stress to you that we have internal.
Mustafa, sorry, you are hacking, and Doctor is talking the final notes. You are hacking. Let me send him a message. I think he's hacking.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, Doctor, you can go ahead. I'm just sending him a message that he's hacking.
Yeah, so what we'll do is let's come back next week or any other time that you have on Saturdays. I'm available to assist on this, because this is very critical in our country, where we can try to address issues they are critical. Particularly, I also would like to talk about the budget, because actually all these things affect the budget. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because, do you know why? If there are missing billions, if there are missing billions that should have been spent on certain services, and they no longer can be supported by those resources, then the question I'm asking is, what is our actual budget? Or what is our actual expenditure? What is our actual revenue? Mark, I don't know whether you had ever gone to the Ministry of Finance. You look at their website. They will never tell you, in fiscal year 2024, Gambia government revenue is this compared to what we budgeted. Do you see that, Dave?
Yes.
So you have a tall order. You have a work for you, cut out for you. What are you doing? Be India mo be me for fun me be Mr. Jam me ni ko me be for can science and then. The kuma kilim for wala nyi de ko to la bank wala ko nyi. Ni ko billion le misenta. E ko dol mi la kay to je o me nyi nin ka nyi la. So what ni wo budget of kono. What kono we cannot account for. Left alone now for the services that they should have provided for your provider.
That's true.
And that's the possibility that most of those services have not been fulfilled. I come you are borrowing money from Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly. Ray Buki Sul Buki lem. Welcome for Ray Buki Sul Buki.
Okay.
Yes, that was really great. And yeah, thank you so much, Doctor, because you really brought a clarity. That's why we do this civic education, because we need experts like you people, professors like you people who have the expert knowledge and the professional knowledge in this area to be able to help us understand. Because a couple of things you said here that it didn't even cross my mind at all. So I've learned a lot, and I'm sure most of the listeners have learned. And we are going to continue this conversation. Mustafa will reach to Karamba and offer Noah as well, so that we can have this conversation next week again to just go into it. And then, of course, Doctor, you talked about budget. Maybe after next week, get the clarity, we can take another week for the budget as well, so that we know these things, because the conversation is all over the place. A government is protecting themselves, defending themselves, calling this false or whatever, so we need to really, our people need to understand this. And this is why we have expert Gambians. If they don't listen to you people, we are willing to listen to learn, because we need to know this. And thank you so much, Dr. for really the expert knowledge, your time, your energy. Of course, I don't think we've been this long actually in the program. We've really been long here, but of course it shows the interest in the issue. And then also it shows what you brought in as well that we didn't even know, because the clarity is very important. And thank you so much, Doctor. And I know now you are hungry. You will have to go and eat.
Okay, Doctor. I'll see you.
And thank you so much, Mustafa. And the team were not here today because we have a team of Suleiman Jeng is not here. Saul is not feeling okay. Saul Baji, and then we have Bambamas, and then we have Aziz Bojang. So they are not here today. But it's nice. I am happy that they didn't come, because I have the luxury to cut Mustafa out and then bring all the conclusion I had in my head. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nay.
When we come here, when we're talking about the resources of the country, politics should be out of it, because we need to be able to be genuine in our discussion.
Yes.
Because a penny stolen from our coffers actually affects everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Yes, that's why we have this civic education. Of course, sometimes we go here and there with it, but yes, because we bring people to come and explain, clarify things that we are struggling with. People are struggling with things we hear people say, but we need facts on that. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend, Doctor. And hope you will rest before Monday again. Back to the
Allah barakah. So you karandi. London was London years, okay, nobody can take it from you except God.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mustafa. Thank you for your patience, all of you as well.
Thank you. All right. Cheers. This is where we draw the curtain for tonight's edition of Civic Education Program from Sky Power Radio and TV Services. Mustafa Jame at the seat. Don't Lamalani Gimeram, Sarodila Jan Fusibit Nala, Inshallah, Kamaran Skype or Radio and TV Services and Albadi Mala Mustafa Jame, member in program or Kun Fusibit Nala, Inshallah. Alimbara.